You are now listening to Cryptid Cocktail Party. Creatures, let's meet for a drink. It's a treat. Join us in the fight. Cryptid Cocktail Party. Cryptid Cocktail Party.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Cryptid Cocktail Party, a show where we have a few drinks, share a few laughs, take a dive into the unknown. I am your host, Dave, joined as always by my wonderful co-host, Sarge. How's it going, baby?
What's up?
Hi.
Look at us, the tank top crew. It is much cooler than it was yesterday and still somehow oppressively disgusting
Dude,
outside.
it's so fucking gross. Yes, dude, the last 2 days, 3 days have been the absolute worst.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so, first of all, before we go into how oppressive the heat is, how are you doing? What's new with you?
I'm wonderful.
Yeah?
I'm wonderful. I enjoyed the 250th anniversary of this country. I refuse to allow the current administration to ruin that for me because I had been looking forward to this since I was a little kid because I'm a fucking dork. And you all know that.
No, you?
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I like America sometimes when we're not doing criminal shit and taking over foreign countries for no. Look, I'm not going to get into it. The bottom line is 250-year celebration.
What's funny is when you said criminal, the audio glitched. Like it censored you from saying. Like
Musk has got his paws in everything.
But no, I agree.
Yeah.
It was. I too enjoyed this year's 4th of July celebration. I went to a show in Philly at this place called the Snake Pit. It's just a house. It's just a house.
Yeah, that's the best kind of show.
Yeah, it was the All American Hootenanny, I believe, is what it was called.
Such a great name.
Amazing
name.
We almost didn't go because, as you know, the past 3 days it's basically been roughly the surface temperature of the sun outside.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I was like, I don't know if I want to go outside to a house party. Like, it's gonna be hot inside. It's gonna be hot outside. It's gonna suck. But thankfully, I was like, after like 3 days of being inside, I was like, no, we have to like, I have to feel the sun. Like, I need to be outside, or I will.
Yeah, exactly. Like, eventually, you need to leave the domicile.
But I'm glad we went. It was a lot of fun. Dude, it took me back to like the days of going to old house shows and basement shows, stuff like that. It was $15 at the door. Pay an extra $5, you get unlimited keg beer. There was dudes grilling hot dogs and burgers, and fucking they had vegan options. All the bands were amazing. The surprise headliner was this band Haggis. They're a mincecore band.
I've heard of Haggis.
That I fucking love. So they just showed up. they were the surprise set of the night. But then around like 9 o'clock, dude, torrential downpour. And I was, dude, we were soaking wet because it's someone's house. So you're not like, the party was outside. We're not just going to go into the house. You know what I mean?
Right. You don't know if it's okay to go into the house.
Yeah, because the venue itself is like it's basically a converted shed. So it's very small, and it's very well sound insulated because the first band went on and played, and we did not hear anything at all. Like, we were still outside just like shooting the shit with people. And we had no idea music was even going on. So that's crazy.
And that's the tough part with a punk show because the set is like 12 seconds long. Punk songs notoriously short.
This is true. But yeah, I don't forget where I was going. Oh, but then it was torrential downpouring. So the only way to escape it was to go into where like the bands are playing. But since it's been 180 degrees all day and there's no windows and it's well insulated for sound, it was way hotter in there. So your only options were freezing in the rain or passing out from heat exhaustion inside with a bunch of sweaty, wet people.
It's like a sauna thing where you like, you know what I mean? Like you go in the sauna when you're cold and then you go back outside.
That's kind of what we did.
Yeah. That's what you have to do.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad.
I went to a hibachi restaurant and had a very surly Japanese man pee in my mouth with the little baby thing where you squeeze it and he pees.
That sounds awesome. That sounds like a really good time.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I had some sake. I had a couple of mojitos.
All right, Sarge. So this week, we're not going to be traveling abroad like we did last. We're going to be staying home.
Okay.
So real quick, what do you know about Philly? Like you came and visited me here one time.
Yes.
But have you been here before that or no?
No, that was the only time. I've actually never been to a major city in Pennsylvania before or since I went to Philly to visit you.
Okay.
I've been to Pennsylvania. I've spent weeks in Pennsylvania. I've been to Gettysburg. I've been to Dutch country. I just never went to a major city.
Gotcha. So I guess my question for you is, besides like cheesesteaks and us whipping batteries at people, like what do you know?
Yeah, terrible sports fans, cheesesteaks, Rocky.
Yeah.
And It's Always Sunny, of course.
All right. That's pretty much what I figured you knew about it. Well, today, Sarge, we're going to be talking about one specific piece of this city's history that most people, including people who actually live here, probably don't really know the real version of. Today, we're going to be talking about a monster movie that might not actually be fiction, and it turns out there's a lot more to it than just the movie. So
Wait.
Hold on.
Wasn't fucking Night of the Living Dead shot in Philly? Or was that Pittsburgh?
No, it was shot in Pennsylvania at the mall. You're talking about the mall. I think that's Dawn of the Dead.
The first one. First one.
I don't know, probably.
That was definitely in Pennsylvania, but I can't remember if it was Philly or Pittsburgh.
Well, it doesn't matter because that's not what we're talking about.
Okay.
All right.
Doesn't matter.
So, it's the year 1958. This movie comes out starring some 28-year-old nobody named Steve McQueen. It's got a real B-movie premise. Basically, a meteorite crashes outside a small Pennsylvania town, and inside of it is this purple gelatinous thing that just eats everything in its path and can't be killed by conventional means. It's a cheap, schlocky movie, but it becomes an instant classic. And that movie, Sarge, was The Blob, which I'm sure you've heard of.
Oh, yes. I have heard of The Blob. I've never seen the movie, but I have heard of it.
Either version of it?
I don't know why. It's one of those movies that it's just passed me by. I always confuse The Blob with The Fog. And I know they're not the same thing by any stretch.
Not even close to the same movie. I mean, well, I guess kind of in a way that like it rolls through and just fucks everything up. Maybe.
Well, that's what I mean.
Well, here's the part that they leave out of the trailer. The writer and the producer were both Pennsylvania guys, and the story they came up with didn't just come out of nowhere. So 8 years before that movie even comes out, something actually happens right here in Philly, and it sounds almost exactly like the movie, except not at all. So this is what
based on a true story.
Yeah. So here's what it is. So it's about 10 o'clock at night on September 26, 1950, and two Philly cops named Joe Keenan and John Collins are driving down Vare Boulevard near 26th Street. So it's down in South Philly near like where the old Navy Yard is. And they're just cruising around a patrol. Nothing going on. And then they see something up ahead. It looks like a parachute coming down like slow at like treetop level, and it's just drifting off into a field near 26. So they pull over and go check it out because that's their job. And I guess they didn't really have, I mean, there must have not have been any minorities to harass in their general vicinity. But what they found was for sure not a parachute, but they found this gelatinous mass about 6 feet across and a foot high. And it's just draped over the weeds in this field. And it's so light that it isn't even bending the plants underneath it. It's just 6 feet of whatever this stuff is just resting there like a bed sheet somebody dropped. But it's 6 feet wide and a foot thick, which is crazy.
Jesus, a foot thick?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
The way they described it, it kind of... I don't know how much you know about Pokemon, but you know like Muck or Grimer?
I don't know Pokemon at
Well,
all.
for anyone listening who does, picture that just on top of grass, but like it's not bending. It's so light that it's not bending the grass. It's just like kind of like resting there. Does that make sense?
But it's a foot thick.
Yeah, it's thick. It's thick.
It's a thick boy.
2 C's. Maybe even a Q. Who knows? So Keenan and Collins shine their flashlights on it, and it gives off this misty purplish glow, almost like there's crystals inside catching the light. Now, standing there alone with that in a field at night, they're like, I don't know what to do. So they radio in for backup pretty quick, and Sergeant Joseph Cook and his driver, patrolman James Casper, show up to back them up. So now you just got 4 Philly cops standing there around this thing, shining flashlights on it and just looking at it glow. So
I don't know. Should we shoot it?
So naturally, the cops do what cops usually do when they run into something that they don't understand, which is...
Oh my God, they did shoot it.
No, they didn't
They
shoot
shot it?
They did not shoot it. I just wanted to set you up for that. No, they decided that somebody's going to have to touch it.
That's what any man would do.
Yeah.
In that situation.
So it's Collins. I don't know why. They might have like drawn straws. I don't know why.
Maybe Collins is the newest one.
Yeah, so he reaches down, and the second his hand makes contact, the part he touched just seems to like come apart. Like it dissolves right under his fingers, and it leaves this thin, sticky, odorless residue on his hands. And over the next 25 minutes or so, with all 4 of these cops just standing there watching, the entire mass slowly evaporates into nothing. It's just gone. And they didn't even have time to get a sample. There's nothing. There's no chunk. It's just gone. Yeah. So Sergeant Cook, he actually calls the FBI to report it, which, when you think about it, that's a pretty funny call.
Yeah, that's a weird response. How do you explain that to the FBI?
Well, I imagine it went something like this. So he'd be like, hey, so we got like 4 officers who watched a 6-foot mass of something dissolved into the grass. No, we didn't have any. We don't have any of it anymore. And no, we don't know what it is. So we called you guys. Anyways, are you going to come down? That's essentially how the conversation went in my head.
And the FBI were like, are there black people involved? And then no, we're not coming.
I think you're thinking of the CIA. The CIA would say that. The FBI, I don't think they really care.
Oh no, they were.
Yeah.
Ed J. Edgar Hoover at this time, bad dude.
Sarge, why don't we not make the Blob political? Okay. All right.
The Blob wasn't political. The people involved with the Blob were political.
Valid. So, but yeah, we don't even know for sure if anybody from the Bureau ever physically showed up. But since Cook made that call on paper, this is officially an FBI adjacent incident.
Okay.
Which is
okay.
fun.
Nice.
Yeah. Now, the next day, reporters got the story, and you can pretty much guess what they thought of it based on the actual headline the Philadelphia Inquirer ran on September 27th, 1950. And I'm going to read you the real headline because most places online only give you like a truncated version of it. So the headline says, quote, "It's gone. Flying saucer just dissolves."
Talk about an editor who just doesn't care about his job.
They literally spelled PFFT. It's gone. It's gone.
It's gone.
Fuck
Whatever.
Yeah.
No big deal.
But I want to know why they call it a flying saucer. I guess it makes sense with the time, 1950s, all the Cold War shit, the sci-fi stuff's really taken off.
But I don't recall anyone talking about a saucer. They just talked about the 6-foot blob that's a foot thick.
I mean, it doesn't matter if it's gone. Doesn't matter.
It's not important.
You can call it whatever you want. It's not there anymore. No one's going to see it. Who's going to believe you?
It was probably a flying saucer that happened to be square instead.
Yeah.
And a foot thick and very light, and it dissolves when you touch it. But so it definitely traveled through space.
Yeah. But that's such a good headline. They don't.
It's so
I
good.
miss We've had some pretty good headlines the past few episodes, and I wish we could just get back to that.
Yeah, we got to get back to like catchy, fun headlines.
Yeah. I don't want to, because not going to lie, I got the whole story right there.
Yeah, that's all you need.
There's literally nothing
that's
more.
Really all you need.
That literally is the story. I don't even have to read any further, but I'm gonna. But after that, it just spreads. Like, it's not just a local Philly story anymore. It goes out over the wire, and it shows up in papers all over the country that same day. So the Indiana Gazette runs it as, quote, "Flying saucers now dissolve." And then a paper out in Zanesville, Ohio runs, quote, "Flying disc dissolves, Philadelphia cops say." And the further the story travels from Philly, the more the details get kind of sanded down. Most of them drop the parachute description. They drop the fact that it was purple. But almost every version keeps a detail about how light the thing was. I don't know why that part stuck with them. Apparently, I mean, it is kind of crazy that a 6-foot wide, 1 foot tall mass of goo didn't bend the grass. I don't know. But, yeah, I don't know. But by the next day, the story's basically dead anyway, because the Korean War is...
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And apparently people want to talk more about that than... I don't know. So that's the real story. It's just 4 cops, a dissolving mass in a field, and a fucking brilliant headline, and then nothing, because again, war is more interesting to newspapers than glowing Jell-o. But that's genuinely, that's the whole story of, like, the real story of the Blob.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. And they went far with that story. The movie is very different.
Well, let's get into it. So the thing is, if any of you have ever actually looked up because the story of the Blob, because a lot of people do know that it is based off a true story, but the story they're getting is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like, if you've ever looked it up before or seen it on some other show or article, you probably heard a very different version, like a juicier one, no pun intended, where the thing is actually glowing purple even with the flashlights off, and it's quivering like it's alive, and the cops come out the next day telling reporters they think they just witnessed a living creature. That version is the one that gets reported everywhere, and none of that is from the actual 1950 encounter. So let's talk about where that actually comes from, because it's kind of its own story. So the original report barely gets mentioned again for years. The first real follow-up is in 1954, 4 years later, in Fate magazine, which is basically the go-to paranormal magazine of the era. And even that mention is a fucking mess. Like, it's a short piece about strange things falling from the sky in general. So the guy writing it tries to summarize the whole Philadelphia incident in one single paragraph and gets almost everything wrong. He says it happened in October. That's not true. He says there was a, quote, lavender sun going on at the time, whatever the fuck that means. So yeah,
Lavender Sun sounds like a 1960s like hippie rock band.
It kind of does,
right?
It's a band that I wouldn't listen to for sure.
Yeah, like a band that formed in Haight-Ashbury and were only together for 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then 2 members went and joined fucking Charles Manson, and then
right, and then the other 2 got arrested for protesting the war.
Yeah, so yeah, but yeah, so even even by 1950, 1954, the story's already getting mangled a little bit. But the version that actually sticks, and the one that basically every website and article since has been reporting on, comes from a guy named Frank Edwards. So Edwards was a big radio personality back in the day. He had this show called Stranger Than Science, where he'd tell these like true but weird stories every week. I guess it was kind of like a weekly version of, I guess it's kind of this show, but I was gonna say like a Coast to Coast AM, but without the conspiracies and just telling stories.
Okay.
Like it was that like it was like that vibe, I feel like. Yeah, but he eventually started publishing books based on the show, and in 1964, 14 years after the actual incident, he puts this story in a book called Strange World. And Edwards, being a guy whose whole job was making stories entertaining, he really like juices this thing up considerably.
He embellished it.
Yeah, in Edwards' version, the object is glowing purple even without the flashlights on it. It's described as quivering, quote, as though it were alive. Collins touches it, and it comes apart, quote, like some kind of gelatin. And Edwards also writes that the next day when the officers talked to reporters, they made it plain that they believed the thing was alive. Now, again, none of that was in the actual 1950 report.
Right.
In the real version, they only see the purplish glow because they're shining flashlights directly on it. Nobody in the original account says they saw it moving on its own or that anybody thought it was some kind of living creature. That's all Edwards, like, writing it up over a decade later. But here's the part that's actually pretty interesting, and it's kind of like the twist of the whole thing. So Edwards writes his dramatic, alive, glowing version in 1964. The Blob, the movie, comes out in 1958, 6 years earlier. So if you think about the order that this actually happened in, the real incident happens in 1950. Movie comes out in 1958. Then in 1964, Frank Edwards, a guy who tells spooky stories for a living, writes up the quote-unquote true story and adds in a bunch of glowing, alive, pulsating details that were never in the original. Those details...
It sounds to me like he was just recounting the movie The Blob from memory.
Sounds a lot like the movie about a glowing, alive, pulsating creature that had already been out for 6 years.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the story of the Blob, the true story and the embellished story. But here's the thing, Sarge. Philly isn't even close to the only place that something like this has happened. There's a whole documented phenomenon going on here, going back centuries of glowing, gelatinous, unexplainable goo just showing up out of nowhere. And it actually has a name. It's Pudra Sair. It's Welsh, and it means rot of the stars, which is pretty sick.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, the term first appeared in 1910 when a Cambridge geology professor named T. McKenney Hughes wrote a piece for the science journal Nature, pulling together old Welsh shepherd folklore about this jelly turning up in pastures. And that article kicked off this whole back and forth in the in the different journals with other scientists trying to figure out what the fuck it actually was.
Yeah.
So the term is from 1910, but the phenomenon itself goes back way further than that, all the way back to the medieval era, which, if we learned from one of our previous episodes, didn't happen.
Nope. No, it's all a lie.
So pretty much there was this guy named John of Gaddesden who lived in the 12th and 1300s, and he was a personal physician to the sons of King Edward II, and he wrote this huge medical text called the Rosa Anglica. Rosa Anglica, that sounds right.
Okay.
Where he mentioned this stuff under a different name called Stella Terrae, which means star of the earth, and he recommended using it to treat abscesses. So pretty much this royal physician is telling people to rub this stuff on wounds 700 years before four cops in Philly ever laid eyes on it. Sir Walter Scott even name drops it poetically in one of his novels, where an old hermit character warns that if you go looking for a fallen star, all you'll actually find is some foul jelly that just happened to look pretty for a second while it was falling. But yeah, so
Ew.
So this thing has like a real historical footprint, and it keeps happening right up through the modern era.
Yeah, there was like a recent thing, well, not super recent, but it was like globs of bullshit fell in this like farm town.
Yeah, so we'll go through a quick little tour of a few of them.
Yeah.
So in 1846 in Lowville, New York, a 4-foot wide luminous object came down and leaves behind a heap of foul-smelling, glowing jelly. It actually gets written up by Scientific American. And then in 1983, in North Reading, Massachusetts, grayish-white gelatin turns up all over town, including dripping out of gas station pumps, which is, I don't even know how it would have got in there.
Yeah. Problematic.
And then in 1996, Kempton, Tasmania, there was a green meteor that went across the sky, and the next morning the whole town was covered in white slime.
Nice.
Yeah. But there are 3 stories that actually deserve the full story: Oakville, Washington, Frisco, Texas, and Scotland. So in 1994 in Oakville, Washington, and we've actually talked about this before on the show, so this is kind of just like a little refresher. This one's genuinely the darkest one on the list. So starting in early August, gelatinous blobs start falling out of the sky during rainstorms on and off for about 3 weeks, 6 separate times, covering something like 20 square miles. A local cop named David Lacey is actually the first one to run into it, driving through it, and when he turns his wipers on, it just smears across the windshield instead of cleaning it. So he pulls over, puts on gloves, and describes it as feeling like Jell-o in his hands. And then within a day, people who came into contact with this stuff started getting sick: nausea, vertigo, trouble breathing, fevers. And it wasn't just a couple people. It was like a big chunk of the town. With some residents said they had like flu-like symptoms that stuck around for 2 or 3 weeks. Pets that touched it got sick, and some of them died. It was super sad. So naturally, people sent samples off to get tested. A hospital lab finds human white blood cells in it, but the cells are missing their nuclei, which is weird. The Washington State Department of Ecology gets a sample too and finds a couple of unidentified bacteria strains in there alongside those same nucleus-less cells. And then before anybody can run more tests, the samples just go missing. Suspicious.
Surprise.
The microbiologist working the case, a guy named Mike McDowell, straight up went on record later saying, quote, "This material is manufactured by someone for some purpose, and for some reason Oakville was chosen as the test site," end quote. So yeah, that one's not a fun mystery jelly story.
Yeah, but that's a conspiracy mystery jelly story.
Yeah. And then in 1979 in Frisco, Texas, during the peak of the Perseid meteor shower on August 11th, a woman named Sybil Christian finds 3 purple blobs sitting on her front lawn, each one roughly the size of a desk phone.
Odd comparison.
And they weighed about 2 pounds each, which is crazy. She described them as looking like, quote, "smooth whipped cream, only purple." But it gets weirder because these things were warm to the touch and they had small chunks of metal embedded inside of them. Christian was completely convinced that these were space rocks. And the story took off.
Famous consistency of Jell-o.
Yeah. And the story took off enough that there's even a persistent rumor NASA came out and collected the blobs for testing, even though that's never been confirmed. But the official explanation that eventually came out was that the nearby battery reprocessing plant used caustic soda to clean lead impurities out of batteries, and that process created a purplish compound as a byproduct. So maybe some of that was just, like fall off from a truck. Except that explanation never fully added up because the plant's byproduct was solid and what was sitting on Christian's lawn was gelatinous and had metal chunks in it. I mean, the metal chunks
doesn't stack up.
Yeah. But here's what's crazy is that the plant wasn't just some random battery plant. It was a lead smelter called Eggside. And it turns out that the thing was that they were quietly contaminating Frisco with toxic lead waste for decades. And nobody really tracked or reported most of it for the first 20 or 30 years it was operating. And it wasn't until 2012, over 30 years after Christian found her purple blobs, that the city of Frisco and Exide finally reached a settlement to shut the plant down and start actually addressing the contamination. So
God bless capitalism.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if it was so no one knows what it was. It could have been runoff, but it could be purple space blobs.
Yeah, space poops.
Yeah, and then lastly, in 2009 in Scotland. This is one of the most. This is like the best documented case on this entire list because so many scientists got involved and still couldn't agree on anything. So star jelly, I guess we'll call it, it starts turning up on hillsides all across the Scottish countryside in the autumn of 2009 in like large piles of it. A BBC Outdoors team actually tracks down real scientists to look into it. They send one sample to the Royal Botanic Garden in Edinburgh where a botanist finds algae cells in it, but ultimately says he can't call it either animal or plant. They send another sample to a guy at the Macaulay Institute who finds that it looks like fungal elements with some bacteria mixed in, and what he believes might be unfertilized frog eggs. They even run actual DNA tests on it and get a match, but the match comes back as a type of mold, which the scientists figure is just a contaminant that grew on top of the jelly afterwards, not the jelly itself. It's it's all over the place. So you got multiple real labs, real scientists, real DNA testing, and everybody involved walks away with a different half answer. The whole thing got summed up perfectly by an actual headline that ran in the Times over in London. It just said, quote, "Nature 1, Science 0." Yeah. And then
excellent headline.
Yeah. And then in 2012, Dorset, England, blue balls of jelly show up in some guy's garden after a hailstorm. But this one actually gets solved. Turns out it was sodium polycaryolate. I guess it's like a super absorbent polymer stuff that's used in agriculture. And I think it's in diapers too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And it was so it was basically just kind of sitting there. And when it got wet, it just turned into balls.
Impressive.
Yeah. That one is just a fun story. But yeah. So that's the actual range. Like some of these get explained away by industrial runoff or rehydrated diaper chemicals. And some of them get actual DNA testing done by legitimate scientists, but they still walk away without a real answer. And somewhere in the middle of all that, in 1950, 4 cops in South Philly watched their own version of it dissolve in a field. And 8 years later, 2 guys from Pennsylvania turned it into a monster movie that we're still talking about today. So there you have it, Sarge. That is the Blob for you. That's all I got.
The Philly blob makes me think of, and I probably don't have any business making this connection, but it makes me think of like when you see a ball of daddy long legs and you touch it and they all scatter.
Oh, I hate that so much.
That's what made me think of that, except for the purple glittery part.
I mean, it's not, you're not too far off.
Yeah, they're like drag queen daddy long legs.
But I thought it was a fun story.
That's a great story.
I feel like we could just left it at the end of the Blob story and had like just a short episode, but I feel like talking about other jelly related stuff kind of just had fun.
That and the Kentucky meat showers.
I was gonna do that, but I feel like that's got to be its own.
Adjacent. It's not the same thing.
Yeah,
right?
but that has to be its own episode. You can't put that in here.
Yeah,
that's its own thing. But yeah, no, I thought of it because this weekend coming up, July 10th through the 12th, is actually Blob Fest in Pennsylvania. It's in
nice.
Yeah, it's in Phoenixville. Basically, it's just like 3 days of just blob related stuff. On the first night, they do you go into the theater and you watch the Blob, and then afterwards you all come running screaming out of the theater like in the movie.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. It's really cool. But also, if anyone's going to Blobfest, our good friends in Greg's Cryptid Corner, they're doing a live show on the 11th, I believe, at a brewery there. I can't remember the name of the brewery.
Okay, cool.
But definitely go check them out, and that's all I got.
I feel like the Blob had a remake.
It did in 1988.
I think I saw the 88 remake.
Yeah, dude, that so good.
Yeah.
It's coming out of the bathtub and shit. I fucking yeah, it's not great.
I also can't help but think of the Ghostbusters 2 blobs.
It's kind of the
It's
same.
pink, though.
It's kind of the same thing. Only this blob doesn't respond to music and make,
Yeah, you can't spray down the Statue of Liberty
No.
and then play some Jackie Wilson. That's not going to work.
No, that's not how that would go. Unfortunately, as cool as it would be.
Yeah. It would be very cool.
Well, I say you got any questions, concerns, comments?
No, I'm just disappointed that like there's not more evidence. Like I wish that they could have captured it in like maybe like an airtight container so it couldn't like evaporate or whatever.
Yeah, but then they'd have to dump out the lunch their wife made them, and then
Yeah, right. No, I get it. It is the 1950s. You can't expect the cops to gather evidence.
I mean, I'm honestly surprised they didn't just draw like a chalk circle around it and be like, "That's it. That's good enough for me."
I mean, seriously, why even call the FBI? It's gone.
Dude, I don't know.
It doesn't matter anymore.
There's no point.
Yeah.
I don't, because
Whatever you witnessed is no longer a thing.
Because they just didn't want to deal with it.
The case solved itself, officers. You're good.
Yeah, like there's nothing. Like they probably shouldn't. I don't even know why they even fill the report out of it, and like just don't even say anything to anyone.
Exactly.
Like that was weird. It's also South Philly.
Doesn't make any sense.
There's so much weird shit in South Philly. You telling me that's the weirdest thing that happened to them that night?
Yeah, I mean, like a little after this time, I think Joseph Callinger, the serial killer, was operating in Philly.
Oh, the cobbler guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he the one that had the fucking shit and cum hole in his? Yeah, all right, there we go.
Yep. Joseph Callinger.
All right.
A real weirdo.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I got. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. I don't think I got you got anything you want to plug before we do a little sign off?
No, I'm ready to go. That's not what I meant.
No, that was great. Well, follow us on Instagram at Cryptid Cocktail. Follow us on TikTok, Cryptid Cocktail Party. Leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you can. It really helps the show. Give us a call or text on the hotline. Leave us a message. Send some messages. And I think that's all I have. I don't think I got anything else. So I guess with that out of the way, Sarge, you want to say goodbye and I love you to the audience?
Hey, goodbye, and I love you.